What's up everybody, King Kapuku Kapono here. Today we're doing a little something different. We're going to be doing a reel comparison video. I'd like to start this video off by saying that this is a sponsored video. However, we as a channel and me as a person, we're never going to be swayed by a monetary incentive to lie or to mislead someone or to say something that we don't truly believe. So let's get right into this. So what I got here are two reels that I've used in the past. This here is the Cascane Orcas 2000. I actually use this right now. Today, this is still my spinning reel for the time being. And a Daiwa Sweetfire 2500 2B. So these are basically in the same category of size for a spinning reel. This one's a little bit higher, to 2500 instead of the 2000. But I've used these for the same exact application. Whipping, light dunking, heading out, you know, sending out a bobber. And that's all here in Hawaii, in the shore, in the salt water, on the rocks, in the sand. And what this video is going to be is a comparison of how these two reels have held up compared to one another. When I bought this reel, they're actually just starting to stop making the Orcas 2000. So now today you can actually buy this reel. So although you can't get this reel anymore, what I really want to do in this video is show you a little bit of kind of a brand comparison of two reels that are close to each other in the market, about the same value, this one being a little bit more, and what you get for your money. A few of the talking points I want to go through in this video is reliability, price cost, and the feel and functionality of how the reel feels when you're using it. Starting off, I'll go with that price point. So I'm gonna start with the Daiwa Sweetfire. This is actually the third Daiwa Sweetfire that I've owned personally. I bought it at the market. It cost me about 35 bucks. The first one I bought was the same size, 2500. Then I bought another one for dunking. That was a 3500, I believe. And I'm just gonna say it outright. They all broke except this one, which is, in my opinion, about half broken. This is what I would classify as a complete starter reel, which is what I use it for. I was starting fishing. Taking this reel here, the Cascane Orcas 2000, I actually own this. Next month, it'll be a year that I've owned this reel, and it's still functioning, and it's still actually the reel that I'm whipping with today. I would still price this in the same category as a beginning reel, but it functions, in my opinion, at least as good as any intermediate reel you're gonna be getting on the market. This reel I bought on Amazon. It was on sale at the time. It cost me 45 bucks. So, you know, you gotta calculate into that. I bought this in Hawaii, one of the most inflated prices you can possibly have. I'm sure you can get this cheaper in the mainland, but you know, you're talking about a $10, $20 difference in money, and what you're getting is a totally different product. Moving into how reliable these reels are, to give you an idea, this reel, in 1 month, I'll have owned this reel and been using it for an entire year, which is personally the longest time I've ever been able to use and run a reel. And it really surprised me in lasting that long. When you look at what I've done to this reel, the accidents I've had.
Oh, brother! Oh, that's a yoker. Oh, God, it's falling all over the place.
Just dangled super hard, almost fully fell off the rock. Threw my pole into the water. I've dropped this reel, I've fallen on this reel, I've dropped into the ocean and the salt water. Every time it comes back and it lives. It's like a zombie reel. The only thing that has really been an issue is that I bent this when I accidentally fell off a like 3 foot, 4 foot rock, landed on my reel. The only thing that got damaged was this angle here, which I probably could honestly bend back into place if I wanted to. These reels, you know, for the price range, 25, 35 bucks, you're getting exactly what you're paid for this reel. You're getting a cheap kind of beginner's reel. So this thing, I've owned actually 3 of these reels over the course of 7 months. I mean, you can just tell right there, I've spent maybe twice the amount of money on this brand and make of reel as I have on this one reel, and it's lasted me, you know, 5 months less. A lot of that has to do with the way this reel is made. The majority of this is plastic to save on cost. This is metal, which is nice, but almost all this thing's plastic. So one of the reels I've owned was a size up with this, a 3500. I actually dropped and kind of fell on that reel, and it broke the entire inside of the gearbox.
Whoa! Got a casualty of me falling down. Fat injury to my reel.
I never abuse my reels or my equipment. I always take it home and I wash it off. No matter what I paid for it, I'll take good care of it because I want things to last, and that's the way you're gonna get them to last. But fishing where I fish and the way I fish, accidents happen, man. And this thing's definitely seen a lot of accidents. This thing has seen accidents too, not gonna lie. It's held up to some, but it ain't holding up for a year's worth of it. Let's take a look at the interior of these reels to get a comparison of corrosion resistance. We'll start with the KastKing Orcus 2000. Drag system, that I serviced this a little while ago, about 2 months ago. Got some grease on there, no rust, that's good. Inside here, spring looks clean, no rust on those components. Looks like there's a little bit of rust here on the base plate, but that's cosmetic, so you know, it doesn't actually have much functionality, but there is a bit of rust right there. The gear, the rod, everything looks clean. There's no rust on any of the actual functioning components, so that's great. I did mention that I do wash these reels off. Every reel that I own, every time that I go fishing, I always wash them off, because if you don't wash your reels off in salt water, they're gonna get corroded no matter what, no matter how much you pay. You gotta wash your reels off. Okay, let's take a look on the inside of the Daiwa Sweetfire now. That actually looks really nice. There's no rust on the drag system. The interior of that is broken. I don't know why. I could take that apart, figure out, but as I said, it's a little bit beyond the scope of this video. Inside looks good. No sign of rust, no sign of corrosion. Happy to report that. Let's take a look here. There is no rust, like base plate to be rusted, so that's not rusted because it doesn't exist. And for the most part, there's no corrosion on the actual rod part here. There's a little bit right there, but all in all, I'd say that looks pretty good. Nothing functional that would have any ill effect. So comparison, little teeny bit of rust, slight bit of rust on the cosmetic parts, but I take into account that I use this reel here for almost a year now, this one for about 3 months. So with that grain of salt, I'd say that the KastKing for your money holds up really good. Got a year's worth of use here, and there's barely any rust in there at all. But I can't say anything ill for the Daiwa because there's barely any rust on that either. Last point I want to make is the way these reels feel when you're using them, the functionality, how they feel. This reel, as a beginner, you know, you're a beginner out there, it's not bad. It's way better than any reel you're gonna get in like a cheap combo package, one of those $25 reel and rod combo packages, but it's nothing to write home about and be, you know, surprised about. You cast this thing out, it feels all right, but when you cast it out, it's got a lot of resistance. You can see in this clip here when you cast it out, this is the last day I used this reel. I casted it out, you can see it just spools and it looks all weird. Some of that has to do, honestly, with the line. And if you look at the drag system on this thing, I ran this maybe 3 months. Like, there's no drag left in it. It stays tight, but there's no like drag. You hear that? It's just nothing left. Take a look at this reel here. This thing, again, I've almost run this for a year now. I've serviced it 1 time in that amount of time, which honestly I should do a better job at servicing my reels. You know, greasing, putting oil, but hear that? Drag system is still good to go. Still catching fish on this reel, and they're still handling. Here you can see me casting this reel. This was taken 1 week ago. Still working prime. This reel's still good to go. So although you can't buy this reel, the Orcus 2000, what they've done is they've just folded over all the good technology in this reel into their new lines of reels. The technology that worked well in these reels, they've put into the new reels, and they've taken some of the things that didn't work too well in these reels and they've fixed it, and you get a real high quality piece of equipment that does not break your wallet and doesn't leave you hurting. So and what I'm saying here, guys, if you're gonna buy a reel, spend the extra 15, 20 bucks, pick yourself up something like this, the KastKing, look at the new ones, maybe the Sharky 3 that's just coming out, maybe the Kodiak, that's what Dandrin runs and he loves that thing. That thing's lasted even better than this thing has. And invest in a little bit more and you're gonna get a lot more. You're gonna be getting one reel that might last you, like me, if you're lucky, a year. Or you're gonna be getting, you know, a reel which functions perfectly fine for what you're using it maybe, but is not gonna last you as long unless you're incredibly lucky or you do the kind of fishing where you're not gonna be ever dropping a reel, which is, in my opinion, unrealistic. After I got this reel and used it, we actually started talking to KastKing about maybe using some of their equipment, and since then they sent us reels, they sent us equipment this line here, this braided line they've sent us, and every time and again, I'm surprised and I'm stoked at what I get. Okay guys, that's all I have to say about these things. In my honest opinion, KastKing gear like this, I've ran it through the ringer and it's surprised me 100%, and I've been absolutely stoked with buying this reel here. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your opinion. If you guys had reels like this, if you've compared like 2 different brands, maybe a KastKing reel and a Daiwa, maybe 2 other reels, whatever it is, drop a line, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this comparison, and tell me your experiences, because it's always nice to hear back from you guys and learn a bit from the community. Okay guys, that's it. Thanks for joining me. See you in the next one.